And we did that with
Yeah.
one of our we did that with our backgammon tournament we hosted, and like I ended up giving away a land parcel, and it was,
Mhm.
I mean, it's a pretty sizable like
Yeah.
prize, to give away, which is fine. I mean, we got a bunch of users in our Discord and
Mhm.
everything, but it's really not. I feel like we need to figure out ways of incentivizing
Sustainable
to come.
marketing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
I think we're all kind of at the same thing right now. Will, are you recording this, by the way?
Yeah. So I've been recording.
Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, we're at the same kind of phase there, Baus, because we're running this fashion show, and I think Anorak as well did some sort of a block runner tournament, and he gave away some prizes. I'm not sure if he made the same amount back, and I think it's about us trying to find how much it takes to get people on board, and that value, the revenue where we can at least break even, and then from there we can grow. But I think right now it's very difficult to bring some sort of revenue just because the marketing pool that we have, the people that we have to market to, is not really that big. The amount of people that have a MetaMask account that can actually log in and play, um, even if your marketing campaign is like massive, not many people are logging in and playing. Like maybe 50 to 100 people max, but we want thousands, right?
Hmm.
So I think,
uh,
yeah, I think right now the focus for me personally isn't really to break even. It is to break even, but it's more to grow the overall user base and make sure at these events more and more people turn out. And I'm sure like 6 months or 7 months down the line, once we start to host events and we have 600, 700 players, then those kind of prizes will be more legit.
So I wanted
yeah,
to
For
talk
break
about
even.
some of the updates that Decentraland is going to be making. So we didn't really get to talk about this because I had a meeting with Augustine on Saturday last week, and so I think this is the first time we all get together after that meeting. So one of the things I talked to him about is the updates to the map that they made just recently, and so this is like phase one of the map updates.
Hmm.
A couple of other things they're going to do to change the map is add player location on the map. So even if you're on one corner, you'll be able to know if somebody's on the opposite corner on the map. So there'll be a bunch of red dots, and you'll be able to see who's actually playing in real time. And on top of that, you'll be able to add friends
Nice.
right from the interface as well. And you'll be able to see where your friends are located right on the map. And you'll be able to know
wow.
if they're on the same realm as you are or not. And then you can jump realms right from the map too. So I think I wanted to kind of bring that up and,
Nice.
and
Oh
get
wow.
your feedback on like do you think that would help in terms of like the leaky bucket that Decentraland has, because people come into Decentraland just by clicking on a link, and then potentially some of them come
Hmm.
back, some of them don't, right? And so I think if we have this social
Hmm.
update for Decentraland, perhaps that leaky bucket is less of a leaky bucket. So what do you guys think?
Yeah.
So Frankie, you want to show the map? Press M, and you can show everybody what I'm talking about.
I think that will definitely help because one thing people feel is they log in and then they're lost. They don't know where to go. They don't know whether what realm to be in, where people are. And I think that will help with marketing as well because when you're in there and there's an event going on, you'll be clearly able to just join in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this map here, just imagine seeing a bunch of red dots of people actually like in Decentraland at the moment. And then you see a red dot, you can click on it, you can jump to teleport to them from the map. And then you'll have on the top left a small interface where you'll be able to see your friends list, and you'll be able to know where they're located just by that list
Mhm.
and what realm they are. So I think it's going to be helpful. I think this is like probably the first step to retaining players. But I agree with Baus that we got to figure out some sustainable way to get people attracted to Decentraland without having to
Mhm.
spend so much to bring them in the first place.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think one solution would be like easy solution to that would just be like ability for us to just like mint like wearables, and like that's something that I've been like pushing like really hard,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and getting a lot of pushback, like just to get a wearables license. I feel like any like major project, if you're able to do that, then you can easily just like incentivize people to come.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
What's your stance on having an open market on wearables and creation of wearables, or should people be whitelisted to create wearables?
That's a tough question. I mean, I think Decentraland like definitely wants to have kind of like the same type of branding and image throughout. Like, you know, that's why they have certain, you know, emissions for like their how they do lighting, or they have certain things how they're just displaying things. So kind of everything looks a little bit like, you know, goes together. And so I think like I don't think they'll ever do like an open market wearables. I think like I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe the DAO will vote on it eventually and make it happen. But I think that they probably are going to strongly lean towards just having whitelisted, you know, people. But then that just puts so much power into the hands of those companies or people that have those, because, you know, like can pretty much control the entire market.
So this is one of the things.
What do you guys think on that?
This is one of the things that we can vote on. So we can collectively vote on whether we agree on a whitelisting mechanism or a complete free market where anyone can generate these NFT wearables. I stand on a free market simply because it's probably easier to manage, and there's not going to be any shady business in terms of who gets whitelisted. And then you let the community decide what's valuable. Let's say, you know, Baus comes out with these like, you know, really nice wearables and somebody just copies them. Well, it's in my best interest to support Baus than the, you know, the scammer, right? So I have to do your own research to make sure I'm funding the right people, right? And just like everything else, I think that's the right path, but you know, it's just one opinion.
Have you seen the map?
I think free market is. What's that?
Have you seen the map, the flow chart that they have for the wearables so far?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so I don't know if I've sent you that link. So we've got a forum.
The forums?
Yeah, forum.decentraland.org.
Yeah, it's awesome that they're doing that. It's way better. I remember we were talking about it's way better than having like everything in the Discord. So
So there was a topic in there where they were talking about the proposal or whatever they had in mind for the wearables. And it was something on the form of getting, having a designer who designs the wearables and then submitting it to someone that manages the collections. So I think the person who has the collections has to stake mana, and then they are allowed to basically whitelist or allow people to submit their design to their collection, and then those collections get approved by the DAO or something like that. Anyway, but if you looked at the flowchart, it kind of gives an indication as to where their mind is at the moment. And I think it's somewhere leaning towards some sort of whitelisting. But they're trying to do it in a way where there's minimal voting. The frequency of voting is very minimal, because no one's going to keep voting on wearables if someone's submitting like hundreds every day.
Yeah.
That was the argument in the Discord yesterday, which is, do you leave it open and kind of support the idea of like the creativity and everyone can kind of come up with their own stuff, or do you make it where it's closed and you have certain people that have to be whitelisted or whatever, and you're going to have a better product, but you're going to discourage a lot of people from creating their own stuff, which is kind of what Decentraland's supposed to be. And that was the argument in Discord, which is what I was saying was, I think that we should just have anyone can buy a license or a permit for it and make it, let's just say 15,000 mana to buy a license.
That's right.
And what's going to happen is, if you buy that license and your wearables sell out, it means that there's a demand for it. But if you buy that license and you only sell like 5% or 10% of your wearables, then it's going to filter out the people who are putting out less than an average product. And it's kind of just letting the market decide. But I think Baus brings up a good point where Decentraland wants to have a brand. They don't want to have a bunch of random crappy looking stuff, which I agree with. But at the same time, I understand, like Too Sad to Tell of Sugar Club and HP were both kind of arguing on behalf of the creativity side, which I understand both parts, but I don't think that we should just have it where anyone can submit a wearable to the marketplace. Like, I don't think that's what
we didn't do all that trading to turn around and have anybody just start printing sneakers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not even that, but like, man, I don't want to have to I don't want to have like 100 different pairs of sneakers on the marketplace. Like, eventually, like stuff's just going to kind of get annoying to look at, and you're going to have people who just troll and just make whatever wearable they want. Like odds are you're going to have more people trolling than more people that want to create something good that don't have the chance to do it.
That's very quickly take, like, the legitimacy away from it. You know what I mean?
Just very quickly, welcome Daniel.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, man? Good to see you here. Thanks for joining us.
No problem.
So yeah,
we were
Daniel,
just talking about wearables and whether we should.
Yeah. I was listening.
It's a hot topic right now, man. Everyone's on multiple sides, whether it should be free market or someone should pay something to be a license holder.
Yeah, what do you think, Daniel?
Yeah, it's difficult because it's a very difficult topic because I'm not sure if you guys follow the crypto art scene, but there is like this group of people who is making trash art, basically.
Yeah.
And
some of them are copies, right? Sometimes you get like copy infringement, people just trying to sell copy paste.
Yeah, exactly. So allowing a purely free market can bring you this kind of issue where you have people who just steal IPs and try to sell them from themselves. Imagine you have a guy who tokenize, I don't know, a Spider-Man mask, right? You cannot allow that because you don't want Marvel and Disney on your back. You know, it's a very difficult topic, but at the same time, I guess it's difficult to say who can be in, who can be out, and filtering in, filtering out. But at the same time, you cannot just slow things down. It's I'm not sure how it's going to be done. It's not a very easy question. My best guess is that they do a super rare or non-origin are doing in the art scene, which is filtering people. You are
manually, like they manually select people, I think.
Yeah. At least in the beginning, you at least say this guy yes, this guy no. Okay, make a proposal about what you want to be selling. Then you have to accept the agreement of the platform. Like, I agree that when I'm tokenizing this, I'm not doing any IP infringement or I'm not doing any copies out of it. And if you break the rules, you're banned. That's it. They have banned people from super rares, so it's not you have this chance, don't fuck it, and it's easy. It's easy. If you don't want to steal or if you don't want to break the rules, it's not going to be any problem for you, even if you're maybe also you can allow like a maximum wearables that you can mint every week or something like that. That would be also a good solution for now.
It seems to me that there's the two extremes of having a whitelisting mechanism versus the other side of a free market. But I think Anorak is onto something here with if a troll wants to spend 15,000 mana for a license to mint, then he spends 15,000 mana to troll. But that will cut down on all the other trolls who are trolling for free, right? So I think if we implement, if we implement some kind of toll, I think that's going to cut down on the all the other trolls out there.
But I think that's what they're doing, right, with the staking. Or that's what the initial proposal was for curators or collection people to stake mana, and then that staking process gives them a license so that people can submit their designs. And then they can kind of curate what comes in and what doesn't. So they don't want to lose their curator license, right? So if we were to vote them out, then they would lose that. So they're trying to find some sort of a mechanism.
I see what you're saying. So that way you're separating the artist from the person that's
curated.
Like, I'm a curator. I'm a respected curator.
Just a sponsor.
I can't do business with somebody that's trying to troll or trying to do some weird shit.
Exactly, Frankie. That's it. Business. So you have to build up your reputation as a curator. So you want to make sure it's quality that's coming through. If you're accepting garbage, we're going to kick you out. Like the DAO most likely will kick you out. But I think that the goal is to kind of unlock creativity from everyone that wants to come in. From people that own like Sugar Club, they need to be able to design something like Meta Factory needs to be able to design something. Obviously,
definitely anybody that's doing stuff should be able to. Well, I don't want to say anybody, but people that are doing stuff should be the first people to get the opportunity, because they need to promote something that they've already built prior, when they were dealing with. I know you guys all probably know about this, but people dealing with like the SDK not working well for them and stuff like that. Those people should be first in line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, I think you bring up a good point, Frankie. I think like it just provides anyone with any user base, like in DCL, with like a business model, that where they can make, revenue. So I think, and also just give away if they want to, and incentivize users to come check out their parcel. So yeah, I think it's pretty important that pretty much, like you said, Frankie, every one of us and everyone that's pretty serious about building stuff is able to mint their own wearables.
Yeah.
I don't think you guys will have any issues though, because what's going to be available soon is just the ability to put together proposals, submit it, and then get voted on. And I was talking to Toonpunk, and he was saying, to be honest, if you have a half decent proposal or you're somewhat legit, like I was going to put a proposal through for DCL Core, so I talked to him about it, and he said, yeah, look, you should have no issue getting whitelisted just because of the sentiment around the people. Like generally the gist is like, people will support this sort of things. So I think if you're early to it and you have a decent proposal at the start when there's not much noise, it shouldn't be difficult to get approved.
That's good.
I think so, at least.
No, I totally agree. So we were talking about how being able to generate your own wearables would be at least one sustainable way to attract people to Decentraland, because right now, since the team has like the minting power for wearables, those seem to be like very successful. Anytime, like for example, the whole COVID fight against COVID thing, that brought in like a ton of people, right? That raised, over $5,000. And in exchange, you got a mask, right? So I think these wearables are a big deal. Any other ideas on sustainability? I think I had one with using the DeFi system, where we use some of the DAO funds to stake into Compound and earn interest to fund some of the minigame experiences, from anything that anybody creates to, existing games right now. Any other ideas that you guys had?
I think that's a great idea. If we had any returns on Compound still.
Yeah, that's true. At 0.23% for sure.
Yeah, but still, I mean, if it's like, what they get, like 20 million mana a year?
Yeah,
the DAO does.
Yeah,
that's pretty sizable. I mean, if you're making a small percentage of that, I think it could fund some stuff.
Is that how much it is? 10%.
Yeah.
What is?
Yeah, 22 million is 10%.
So is that how much you get per year if you stake?
No. Sorry. So you get 222 million is part of the DAO, right?
Yeah.
And you got 10 years. So every year is 10% of the 222 million.
Yeah, that's so 20 million.
So 20 million, yeah. So you stake 20 million mana into Compound, at least you're generating free money, right, so to speak.
That's what I'm saying. How much do we get if you stake the 20 million?
It's market. It's market based, but Compound doesn't have mana right now. I mean, they could add it. Maybe.
Well, you would do is you convert that to Compound. I mean, you convert that to DAI, stake that into Compound. But right now, the percentage, Maddie, I think that's what you're asking, is the interest rate right now is like 0.23%. But it used to be on average above 5%. And at one point, it was at 20%.
So it's 0.23% right now?
Yes, 0.23.
What?
Yeah, it's really bad right now. I'm
the
checking
actual
it.
markets are causing that. Yeah.
Oh, right. No, that's nuts.
Yeah, it's not good right now.
Isn't that a good thing for borrowers because they pay less interest?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's they have to pay like 0.5%.
Oh damn.
So I'm looking at it right now. It's at 1.51% interest rate. So it went up, considerably since last I checked.
Yeah, it was like near zero, like
a
couple, like 1 to 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
I saw.
Wow.
Is the DSR raised too? Yeah.
Say that again.
The DAI savings rate is still the DAI savings rate. Yeah, have you guys gone to like Oasis? It's like MakerDAO's site where you can like stake the DAI and get like a DAI savings rate of return. And that's kind of the MakerDAO votes on that
Correct.
to like raise or reduce that. Yeah, and it's actually that's still at 0% though, which is crazy. I guess
really?
It's just because DAI has such a massive demand right now because people are But I guess after that massive sell off, like DAI was trading at like 1.06 or 1.08 at certain times, like during that massive crash in like last month. And I remember I was arbing. There was a massive arb on Kyber between DAI and USDC. It was like DAI was like in such massive demand that the price was so much, and then so the MakerDAO like voted to reduce the savings rate down to 0 now, and they've kept it there just so that, because their target for the price is 1 to 1.
Sure.
So so obviously, you know, as a result of lowering that DSR, then it brings down the demand for it a little bit. So hopefully reach back to 1 to 1. But yeah, it's crazy. It's still at 0 though.
Yeah, for real. And I'm
I
surprised.
think it'll go back up. But
I'm surprised it went down close to, you know, just the interest rate, 0.23%. I've never seen it that low. I remember when I first got into Compound, it was at 17%. And I was like, hell yeah, man! You know, screw the banks. But
yeah, like put in like all the crypto you have in there. Yeah, yeah.
So,
what's one thing that you guys like about Decentraland right now, specifically to Baus and Talk Sam? What's something that you guys see right now in the world that you're excited about, like moving forward in the near future?
Go first. All right.
That's a difficult question because I'm not very hyped about Decentraland these days. I feel that we are stuck. Even if they are doing a lot of things for social interaction and social people getting into the game, I see we're still in a block that we cannot surpass. You know, we achieved this huge milestone, which was the release of the game, right? That was a huge hype for everyone. But after that, I don't see that there is a lot of new players coming in, like people who stays a lot of time in the game and they come back and they stay back in the game. And, you know, I try to, even if with this COVID thing going on, I don't see that the game has got a lot of people in, and, you know, since there's not much built yet. And also,
what do you think is causing that, Daniel?
What exactly?
What do you think is causing the fact that no one is seemingly coming into Decentraland and staying?
One of the things is the barrier that you have to place your NFT wallets, you know, your MetaMask wallet. Yeah. The very first second you enter the game, you face a wall. You just cannot enter the game without placing your Ethereum wallet.
So you know they've changed that, right? So even
I swear you could do it without a MetaMask, right?
Yeah, you can.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, really?
As
they have
guests, though.
when they
on the first week. So if you go and use like Safari or some other browser that doesn't support a wallet, you can jump into Decentraland as a guest and run around without having a mask or a wallet. So you'll be able to experience pretty much anything. Now you won't be able to interact with our games, for example, or go to Decentral Games and gamble. But you know, you could at least experience.
I'm trying to log now, but
yeah, check it out.
Doesn't see when I log into Decentraland with Chrome, it asks me for a wallet. I'm just comparing Decentraland with, for example, CryptoVoxels.
Look, CryptoVoxels have the smoothest onboarding. There's no doubt about that. And I think we should take that into consideration.
Exactly. I mean, when I share CryptoVoxels on my Twitter, maybe my friends who doesn't look, they don't know about crypto, or they don't know about what I'm doing. They just click in and say, "Hey, I like your Minecraft world," and I'm like, "Yes." At least he tried. He tried. He logged in and he walked around and he commented, and maybe he later on he wants to build something there, right? But in the central, the moment you enter, you just have this phase wall. Like you need a wallet account here. You need something to, and that's not also an easy thing to have because you have to make you have to have some Ethereum on it. You have to make, it's Just
MetaMask
click.
wallet is actually very difficult to set up for non-crypto people.
Exactly. This
Huge
is not
difficulty.
so. If you give you a link to someone who has never been in Decentraland, they are not going to join in the first 5 seconds. They are going to take at least 10 minutes before they can join. And attention span of people is really bad. Regardless whatever all things are going on, if I have to spend like 10, 15, 20 minutes to join the first time, and then I have to try a tutorial, which I had a lot of issues with that because I have a lot of friends who have been stuck in the tutorial for some reason. They just, the next time I tell them to join in, they just like, oh man, I suffered the last time. Why else should join this time? You know, it's.
You know what? I think you're right, Daniel. I just use Safari, and I can't get into the game. So you're right. You have to have
Safari as well.
Yeah, you have to use a mask or a wallet.
Yeah, it always asks you for a MetaMask or some other wallet. So that's the main barrier I see. And
so for CryptoVoxels, do you just need a link and then you're in the game?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's how it should be done.
Even on mobile phone,
Yeah,
you
that's
click it
the
and you're in the game within like 5 seconds.
You can find on a Quest too, Oculus. You can just like go to their website and just click right in.
Right.
Start walking around.
See, I thought they changed that, but I guess not.
So
I don't know, maybe.
The question there though is, even if it's easier to access, do you still see people coming back to those platforms?
Well, of course.
Okay.
There's a meeting going every week. It has been going for at least 2 months now, or maybe not that much. But last week we were like 90 people there.
Yeah, is that the one organized by Matt?
Yes.
That's the one that you invited us to, Maddie. There's like 70 people in the lobby.
And the one before 70, and they were week before there were 60. You know, and it's increasing, and people is coming back. And the fact that they can mint items, for example, Matt is now giving wearables, free wearables for anybody who joins. I cannot do that in Decentraland. I cannot organize an event and give wearables to anyone who joins and give me their wallet. I cannot, for example, go and place. It's the thing about the CryptoVoxels is because they can join. You know, it's very easy to join. It's very easy to set up things, and Decentraland is lacking all of that stuff.
I agree. Yeah, the onboarding is one of my biggest issues. I'm just like trying to push ways around MetaMask. I just feel like the whole concept of downloading MetaMask should just get out of here, because for them to be able to submit gas fees and understand how that process works, it's too much. But how CryptoVoxels has it, where you click on a mobile phone link, you're in the game, you can walk around. You may not be able to interact much, but I don't know if you put the sound up, if you can hear the voice chatting on the mobile phone.
I don't know about that, but you know, it works.
You experience the scene.
Everything. Yeah, exactly.
And you can also move around. Yeah.
Yes, you can type and you can,
It's really good. I think that's the benefit of being like voxel based. Maybe, I'm not sure, because the graphics aren't as heavy, so it loads easier.
Decentraland should be able to do this. I actually, we should talk to them about this, because it wouldn't be difficult to implement this. Now, unless they have some kind of underlying infrastructure where they require a MetaMask or a wallet of any kind. Otherwise, they already have guest accounts. You shouldn't need to have a wallet to walk around Decentraland. There's and like for us, like Decentral Games or anybody who's setting up some sort of business within Decentraland, we value the fact that anybody within Decentraland right now, we know they have a wallet, right? And so those are customers, right? So to us, that's like sort of like a good thing, but it's also a bad thing that it's too complicated for people to just jump in.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to convince people to show the game, so they can see if they have any interest on it, and then maybe they convert into Ethereum wallets.
Yeah, for
Maybe.
sure.
Yeah.
But if they cannot try it in the first place, they are not just going to skip it.
I mean, even if they did try it and you gave people like without wallets or not familiar with wallets the option of walking around in Decentraland as a guest. I mean, I think what really needs to happen, and I think it will happen eventually, there needs to be some type of like Coinbase type of service where like a company provides like custody for like assets, because most people, I mean, like if you think about it, like say someone's a guest and they come in and they want to buy something, like, and they don't know the wallets, and even if they could get in the world, like they're not going to pay for anything because they can't send any crypto. And they can't even hold any of the NFTs.
Yeah.
So for us, obviously, like we all prefer like to have custody, and that's important to us. But I feel like the majority of people, like 95% of the population, doesn't really care about that. So I feel like having that service is going to be really important eventually, like down the line. And I don't know how that's going to look, but I think it's going to be necessary for Decentraland to grow and appeal to the mainstream.
I agree. I mean, I guess it's a centralized exchange, basically like Binance and so whoever holds your coins or assets, right? But that's,
I think it's just it's good to have the option to have your own keys, though. I think that's like the whole point of crypto.
100%. But I think that's what Nifty Gateway are working on. I'm not sure if you've seen their work.
Okay, I think I've heard of them. I haven't like dove into.
Yeah. So I've been on a Skype call with them, and basically they've created some sort of like a way so you can own your assets via their exchange, or your NFTs, and you can purchase, buy, and bid on them in fiat. So they're trying to minimize the onboarding hurdles, and I'm really watching their thing very closely because they're approaching influencers on Instagram, like artists and stuff, getting their art, getting them to auction that, and then facilitating that on the blockchain for them in Nifty Gateway on their exchange. So they're trying to.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they're trying to really push the numbers on how many people are engaging with NFTs. So.
Oh damn! They're backed by Gemini with a Winklevoss.
Yeah,
They're behind
that's it.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm in touch with them. I might do a review on their whatever they're doing soon. But so far, it seems like they're doing really well with their art sales.
Yeah, I've seen their brand around. I haven't like dove into how's their volume compared to like OpenSea.
I haven't checked it yet, but I think they've sold like some art pieces for like $3,000-$4,000. So just single pieces. So they're getting volume. But I'll cover it properly. I'll have a call with them and cover it in a blog post. But there's definitely people working on pushing the numbers in the NFT space.
Yeah.
That needs to happen.
Definitely. Yeah. I hear what you said, Daniel, about like kind of being disappointed with Decentraland, and but I think I kind of I reached a point like, you know, several months ago where I kind of just stopped like trying to expect things from them in terms of like user retention or user acquisition and everything. And I kind of started looking at Decentraland more as just a platform. And I think like obviously like we can be like, you know, you guys should, you know, get more users and bring in like all these people to play our games. But at the end of the day, I think for us, like we're really just focusing on just viewing it as just a platform and a social network that they're providing like events, like lists, like on their site, or like, you know,
totally
like forums for people to communicate. And really you're just going to be like focusing on user retention all by ourselves, you know? And if you view it that way, I mean, I think it's, you know, I think they're doing an okay job. And I think, you know, considering that they're trying to do all these add all these social aspects like voice chat, and they just added like audio streaming, it is helping, you know, make it a better environment to like hang out in and socialize. So, I mean, from that standpoint, I agree with you, Daniel, with like the fact that they could be doing more in user numbers, but I kind of just gave up on that, to be honest, like a bit ago.
I mean, it's not about the user. It's not about the usernames, numbers. It's about allowing more people to share your creations. I'm involved in various platforms, not just Decentraland, so I'm not very focused on it. I mean, it has ups and downs. For example, these days I'm very hyped about VR chat because they have improved their programming system within the game, and we are testing it with some projects. But it's about seeing that they, for example, voice chat. Voice chat is something that has been giving issues since the very beginning on the internet to every single game that I fucking know. World of Warcraft tried to have voice chat and they removed it because they failed.
Right.
CryptoVoxels is having a huge match-as problem with voice chat. And a lot of games have had this issue. So why are you focusing on having voice chat instead of, I don't know, I mean, for example, a low collaboration building in the game, for example. For me, that has higher priority than having a voice chat, for example, because you can use Discord, you can use Zoom, you can use whatever other thing you want to use that will complement that in, I don't know, maybe an event or something. It's been a long time. I mean, it hasn't been a long time, but feels a long time since the release of the game.
It does feel like it.
Yeah.
It feels like it, right?
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. Yeah.
And feels like there's haven't been much done yet since that.
I actually, I felt the exact same way you did as well, Toxam, Daniel, for the first 1 month and a half. I was like, why isn't they're not releasing anything? Obviously, there's so much we need to work on. We need the simple functionalities like just being able to onboard properly, or like whatever it was. But the launch was obviously showed there was many things to work on, and them not releasing anything for a month and a half was just like, what's going on? But recently, I think I've been getting in touch with Augustine and getting on voice calls, and they have so much in the works that they haven't put on public yet. And I think, I don't know if they're just not good at communicating this. Because, I like how CryptoVoxels does it. He literally just, on the day he thinks of the idea, he puts it out on Twitter, and we know what he's working on. And there's been a lot of silence from them, like a good 1 month and a month up, or maybe a month and a half after the launch. But I'm a lot more optimistic now because I know there's a lot of interactivity, social features that are in the works. I think, I'm not sure, Will maybe also had a conversation with August. And I don't know, my sentiment changed based on what he had to say. Was yours as well, Will?
Oh, absolutely. I think I kind of look at things how Baus looks at it. We're building because we know Decentraland is going to stick around for a long time, and we feel like this is the time to really take advantage before the wave actually comes in. Like for example, we set up our MetaZone tower. We sold a couple of games to landowners like Anorak. And before the launch, this was all done before the launch. And then by the time the launch came, we benefited greatly just because I think everyone was focused on, the whole launch. And it brought a lot of people to our parcel. And we didn't ask anybody to play, but they all played, right? They all spent mana. And it was very successful for us, but we prepared for months in advance. And so we kind of, if you take that idea and you extend it to where, the masses potentially coming to Decentraland, we're preparing for that, right? That's why we keep updating and we keep making games. We keep doing stuff. But
are you optimistic that the masses will come?
Oh, for sure.
And what makes you optimistic?
Just because Decentraland has the most flexible SDK compared to any of the other of metaverses, decentralized metaverses, right? Like CryptoVoxels. We can build unique experiences here that you can't do anywhere else. And the fact that, in this world, you get to own the digital assets, I think that's going to be very attractive to the average gamer. Maybe not today because it's a little cumbersome, but to the average gamer, they're going to see the value in digital ownership. And that's why I'm very bullish on specifically Decentraland. I like all the other metaverses, but I feel like we can create a little bit more diversity in Decentraland versus everywhere else.
You mean in terms of interactivity and gaming?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like it's a long way, away from the finished product if you think about it that way. So to me, to me, I'm just doing what I can right now because I got a feeling about the way things are gonna go, you know. So I'm just like, that's kind of the way where I'm at with it, you know. Is it I've been building because I think that if you're an early builder, that'll be beneficial to you, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're in the beginning. I mean, it's not about blaming that they did this or they haven't done that. You know, you have to understand that we're in the beginning, but since we are in the beginning, we also are in a place that everything could fail. You know, and this conversation will go to hell. You know, and everything we hope for just disappear because another platform comes in and makes it easier for other people to join into their platform. And, you know, it's very early on, and it's very about competition. I mean, that's at least what I think.
True. You have to think about your competitors. And
so
I think
I
there's
built
definitely
in
competition.
a
I
lot of
think
places.
Go.
No, so I built in a lot of places, man, and they all are in like a rush, you know. They all feel like they are building sort of very quickly, and I don't have this kind of feeling in the Decentraland these days. Maybe some months ago, yes. Now I have this feeling that things are going a bit slower than usual.
Excuse me. I think the Decentraland is a lot more about community than building. So, like, I think that's one of the reasons that we started all linking up and doing things.
I sort of agree, Frankie. I think I would restate that if I were saying, I would say that Decentraland is really focused on decentralization, and that's why things are moving so slow. I think you know, even 20 years down the line, some developer would pick up the slack and start updating the SDK, start updating the the GitHub where Decentraland, all the files are stored. And this is going to be community run. It's not going to be DCL team run. And that's why I'm okay with spending a lot of time like building stuff within Decentraland, because I know just like Bitcoin has continued for a decade without, missing a beat, I feel like it could be the same thing with Decentraland.
Yeah. And all the other metaverses like are nowhere near as decentralized as Decentraland. And
Agreed.
I think just from a builder's perspective, like, that just ensures that it's going to stick around. And I kind of had this discussion about like just NFTs in general. Like if you really look at the majority of NFTs, like if like the development team of that NFT, like for some reason, just like, hung up the cleats and didn't, and just failed, then the NFTs would I mean, they'd still be tradable on Ethereum, but I think
There'd
they would
be no
lose
progress.
pretty much all their value.
Exactly.
And where on the other hand, Decentraland is in the process of and almost done with decentralizing a lot of their their foundation and development, and how the community makes decisions through the DAO. So I think at the end of the day, like if for whatever reason the foundation were to like cease to exist in a few years, the NFTs would still have value because like I'm personally hosting a node. Like I know several other people are hosting nodes, and the metaverse is still going to be there and exist because of the decentralization. So I hear you, Daniel, with saying that like there's no sense of urgency to push out features and make it better. But I think that like William said, like it's all really about decentralization for them, and I think that's going to really start to pay off in the longer term.
And to be clear, I feel exactly the same way as Daniel does. I feel like it is slow, and it does have that feeling of apprehension, but with that feeling, I also have confidence, and that's what keeps me going.
But sometimes I think they're just not good at communicating what's in the pipeline.
True.
And that's what makes it feel like it's slow. Like if they just told us all the stuff that's on the forum, I don't know if you guys saw the forum, like the fact that they're working on wearables, that there's a map, that there's a discussion, that they've got audio and video streaming around the corner. They're working on it. They put videos of them working on it, how close it is to being completed. All of this stuff could have been communicated in 2 months, and we would have had that feeling of progress.
Exactly.
Definitely. That's a big deal, and that's what we do get from the other metaverses, that they do tweet like little snippets of what they're working on, even the smallest things. Even just a simple 20-word tweet is enough to be like, oh well, this is what they're working on. Great, that's progress.
Exactly. Yeah.
And this is kind of the reason why my blog exists, is because I try and push out what I know is happening that people don't know is happening. But it should really be coming from Decentraland. At every stage that they're working on something, it needs to be tweeted. I personally think so.
Yeah. I think.
By the way, Frankie, are you audio streaming this straight onto your land?
Yeah, you see all the people that are listening?
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I tweeted out the link to the parcel, and so that's kind of helped.
There's people listening to us live.
Yeah, people are showing up. Yeah.
Oh man, that's next level.
What's up, people?
Everyone wave. It's going to be delayed like 20 seconds.
A 4-second delay though.
Yeah.
So my wave's going to be 4 seconds early. You know,
we got to wave. I think when video streaming is going to be available, I wonder if we can just video stream our Zoom calls straight.
I think so. Yeah, that's why I wanted to jump on this, because I felt like I want to again just be one of the first people messing with sound, be the first people messing with streaming. You know, that's kind of one of the reasons why I jumped all over this. I talked about it last week.
Yeah, man, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to add this functionality. I don't know how you did this wizardry, Frankie, but we're going to have to add it to the jukebox for sure.
Oh man, yeah, I can give you the stream thing, but I couldn't replicate this if I wanted to, because I needed a lot of help.
Yeah.
H. Pravacos helped me.
Yeah, this is like a technical achievement that we're witnessing right now.
It carried me. But it's great, you know, and I think it's going to be good for the community. And that's the whole thing is, you know, that's what I'm always been pushing that since day one, is like the community of it. You know, we're a small community now, so we can know each other. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, if it grows, it would be nice to still know these people that were in from the beginning, you know?
Yeah.
So I think
I'm actually very,
you know,
I'm actually very, very optimistic about the features, the social features that they're working on. Mm-hmm. So the fact that we're going to have a map, friends list, we're going to have an interactive live map to see exactly where people are, where we can join into, understanding of which realms we're in. And when we log in, we're not going to be taken to that external, like as a first-time user, you're not going to be taken to that external place, that tutorial place. It's going to be in the Genesis Plaza with like NPC characters. So I know that this sort of stuff is happening. And I think that's going to go a long way into showing that on first glance what Decentraland can do. And I think if you're a first-time user in Decentraland and you're going to parcels that are not really providing much value, you're going to exit and not return for a while.
Yeah.
But if you're a first-time user going into a place that has people around it and you can jump into where people are straight away within like 2 minutes, suddenly you've gone from someone that knows a lot more about Decentraland, probably 10 times more than what they did before.
Right.
So that's what makes me very optimistic in building community and these events that we're pushing out, the fashion show, etc. I want to see over the next 6 to 7 months of me pushing that, hopefully 3 to 4 events a month, that there's a user base that's increasing. And that's kind of the trial there that for me is going to prove to me, I guess, that Decentraland is going to have a strong future. So
yeah, I totally agree. I think it's one of those things where we have a bunch of creators building stuff on their parcels, and it's up to all of us to really push this experience to others, and because we see something that many others don't yet, and I feel like it's our responsibility to take that feeling and, you know, share it with others, because I think what we're doing here is going to be important. You know, 10 years down the line, people will look back and it's like, man, how'd you do it? It's like, well, you know, at least, you know, we have something to show for it, right? Like all the gaming, like think about, you know, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when we were all playing Nintendo, right? And, you know, playing Mario, playing, you know, Mortal Kombat, all those experiences was fun, but we don't have anything to show for it. Like I talked to Daniel in a previous podcast, and we were talking about World of Warcraft. All that time spent getting all that gear, all that stuff, like it's sort of wasted. And it won't be the same with Decentraland, with all the NFTs and all the things that we can earn here. It's going to last for a very long time. And that's the feeling we need to instill in others when we continue this
I think
whole
they've got
path.
awards and achievements coming up soon, like the NFTs, getting NFTs for some sort of achievements and awards.
Yeah, badges. Yeah,
badges, and road names and
stuff. Yeah, that's actually very cool.
Yeah, I think honestly,
there
if
are a lot
decent
of cool things going on, but
they do.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We know it's coming, but a lot of silence in the first month and a half after launch was like, when is it coming? Like, how soon is soon? I think that was the questions I was asking.
Yeah.
But honestly, man, if they allow onboarding via mobile, we'll have like 2 times the amount of people.
Dude, easily.
To our scenes.
Definitely.
Yeah,
like,
and think about this.
I was honestly blown away.
Think about this. In the mobile space, you'll be able to jump into Decentraland, and your phone doesn't have really clean access to a wallet. And so by the time that launches, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to jump into Decentraland without having, a wallet required.
True. Yeah. If I can just go in and just watch a conference, that's enough. I can, like, a lot of the times these events are happening, I'm upstairs sleeping in my bed. I'm not going to get out at 3 a.m. and on my computer, log into MetaMask and all that. But I might click it and put my headphones on for like 5 minutes. So
yeah,
hopefully if they're listening,
there's gonna be a lot of things that you can do. You just got to use your creativity, in my opinion. Like, just take what they give you for now, and use it
exactly,
and just do something cool with it,
exactly.
And then it shows, because I'm not spending a ton of money here, and I'm learning all this stuff on the fly. So it's not like
that's true, Frankie.
It's just like, do something.
Yeah, I mean, like the games that we have, they're not like RPGs. They're not anything special. But it is what we could
over a rock or whatever.
Exactly. It is what we could build at the time, and with more functionality, more flexibility, those games will be better. Though you'll be able to build different things. Like right now, we have the Infinity engine. Who would have thought that was possible, right? But
engines, crazy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like those are the things that we need to discover. Like we need to be able to play with the SDK, and that's why I advocate for the SDK a lot, because it allows these experiences that we can't really imagine, because we all come from different parts of the world. We all know different things, and so if we take what we know and we implement in Decentraland, we come up with an Infinity engine. We come up with like this franchising mechanism. We come up with all these different things that you wouldn't be able to predict, and that's why I'm so bullish on the SDK.
Do you think there's anything that can be added to the SDK, or do you think it has what it needs?
Well, I've mentioned it before. It needs communication ability to the outside world, right? Because we're on a browser, we're in a video game in a browser, we should be able to tweet from within the game. We should be able to watch YouTube streams within the game. We should be able to do all kinds of things, and you can't right now. And it's not because it's impossible. It's simply because it's just not an ability within the SDK. So that will change, but we need to ask for it, basically. Other than that, once it's completely decentralized, we can go into the SDK, propose that update, to the DAO, and it just gets voted in. And all of a sudden, we have streaming capabilities from video standpoint, and we can have all that functionality just by doing it ourselves.
Yeah, hopefully when the DAO's working and we can just literally just put in proposals and they work on or focus on them, it's not that long of a implementation waiting barrier. Like, it's not too slow. I think DAOs do slow the process though, and that's the benefit these other companies have, like CryptoVoxels. They can be so nimble. They can come up with an idea, implement it within 48 hours, and satisfy the community that asked for it 2 days ago. But anyway,
So one thing for everybody in this current parcel right now, there is an event going on in the next 20 or so minutes, right? It's a fashion show. And so does anybody know the name, the location of that parcel?
I literally was just about to ask.
Sorry, the fashion show parcel?
Yeah. What's the location of the parcel?
Fashion show parcel.
Oh, man, I don't even know. Hold up.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about this for like several weeks, but like,
we don't know the location.
Yeah, so the location. Yeah, that's another thing. Maybe there's like an easier way to.
Oh, you know what? CryptoVoxels had that was amazing. You paste the link of
the link right in. Yeah.
Dude, the link. They don't have to whitelist all the links. Just a link of a different scene, and then people can just click it and go straight into it.
Yeah,
it was a big deal because.
Links in this needs to work. I mean, I cannot have user interaction if I don't have a link for my website, for example.
Exactly.
Or a link to whatever other place. The fact that they didn't implement the link is very disappointing for me. Because, all of us want our people to go and click and go to our website. The answer I got is like, oh, but you can add a QR code. And I'm like,
it's
yes.
29-113 is the fashion show, I think.
Yeah.
29-113.
Yeah.
All right, boys. I might
What,
go
28
dip out because I gotta
112,
help.
my man says.
Yeah.
I gotta help direct people and stuff. So I'm gonna head out.
Yep.
All right.
But
Okay.
enjoy the podcast. I'll
Appreciate it,
listen to
man.
after it's done.
We'll talk soon, man.
Definitely.
All right. See you, everyone. Thanks for joining
Thanks,
Daniel and
Talk to you.
Baus this time.
No worries.
Sounds good. Yeah.
All right. So another thing that a main topic that we've talked about, like round circles, is doing the DAO. Is basically the DAO is not perfectly implemented just yet, and I guess one of the things around the DAO is simply it was the wearables. It was how we're able to decide on who gets a vote and how much weight that vote gets. And so my opinion on, and as far as the DAO goes, is if we skew the vote towards people who are trying to grow Decentraland, meaning anybody who's building anything, right? That's which is everybody on this call. If we skew the weight of the vote to builders of Decentraland, I feel like it would benefit Decentraland greatly. So what I mean by that is if we implement some sort of mechanism for a voting scheme for Decentraland where anyone who's deployed anything on top of their parcel within the last 6 months is allowed to vote, and maybe we send everybody some voting NFTs so that we have a X amount of votes out there, and those who send that NFT to a particular wallet, that's how the voting happens. And so I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about, like, what is y'all's opinion in terms of how much a vote should weigh, whether it should be based on mana, should be based on just land, or based on builders who are doing stuff within Decentraland. How do you guys see that, like, rolling out for the DAO? And I guess we can start with Daniel on that.
Yes, I will divide the weight depending on the topic you're going to discuss in the DAO, right? If you want to discuss topic about building or about developing itself, maybe the builders have more to say that just a guy who has a lot of mana in the wallet.
Agreed.
And haven't done anything in the central.
Yeah.
Right. But if it is about, land assignment, or if the center wants to grow bigger, or anything that is not related directly with the SDK or directly with building, maybe that's I'm not sure if one DAO rule fits for all the demands that will come up with the DAO itself.
That's true. That's a good point. That's an excellent point. I think you're right. I think that even though that might work in terms of like the foundation of Decentraland and its growth and like the voting implications, whether it's going to affect Decentraland and the foundation, I think that scheme might work, but it might not work for everything else. So, that maybe like the DAO vote is flexible in terms of like what the actual vote is about. If it's about like less important things, then it's a little bit more flexible. Anybody with mana can vote, essentially.
Also the steps of the roadmap. We're in the very beginning, and I think now they should give a lot of importance to building stuff and filling the world with stuff, because it's empty and feels like a year from now it's going to keep being empty. And it's still very difficult to build.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think that one of the big problems about it being empty is some of the parcels ended up going for a lot of money.
Yeah.
So some people are in the mindset of, well, I'm going to hold on to this because this is going to go for a lot of money in the future. And there's people who have land who don't really do nothing with it. They're not really helping the situation. They're not helping themselves, but they look at it in a different way. It's just like a thing that they bought, I think you still got to work around that. You still got to be like, yo, whatever. Good. You have a piece of land that's floor now. Good. I'm going to do something big. It's the only way I look at it. It's the only way I look at anything pretty much. I'm like, I don't let nothing, get in the way of something I'm trying to actually do.
So Frankie,
Yeah, but if you build on your land, you increase the value of your land.
true, agreed.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And you also.
But I feel like there's a lot of people that are just looking at it just like a piece of thing, just something that they bought, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So do you agree, Frankie, that there should be more weight for builders than anything else?
You know, that's tough because like, yes, but also builders aren't the best marketing people, you know?
Okay.
So I feel like there's some people in this, you know, that might like Maddie that doesn't really build too much, but I'd rather have Maddie on the team than anybody because he knows how to reach out to people and you know, to do the networking stuff. So there's other people, the other roles too. So I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't know how, like, what's good. But what I'm just saying is I know there's other roles that are going to have to be played by people who are not builders. It's a guarantee.
I'll let you answer, Baus, but one last thing. So Frankie, the vote is more about influence on a particular subject for vote rather than like the exposure of that vote. So what I'm saying is, if you look at Maddie, he's a land whale. He's got a lot of land, probably more than all of us combined. But I feel like he would agree with the consensus of the builders and what they were voting on than any other group in Decentraland. And by groups, I mean mana holders, land holders, and then we got builders. I think Maddie would fall aligned with the builders because anyone who's building anything increases the value of the land, right? And so that's how I look at it.
For sure. Yeah.
Baus, what do you think?
Yeah. I agree with you, and I think the builders should. I mean, the three factions should be. I mean, I think in an ideal world, it would be kind of like a third in weight. But I do think it'd be interesting to see kind of how you would weight and verify the builders' activity, because couldn't you just redeploy, like
you could,
like how would you prevent against someone just like redeploying something to like the same piece of land? Like you'd have to put in some type of limit?
No, you couldn't.
I think it could be done.
You couldn't actually prevent that, Baus, but that really isn't the issue. Like, let's say there's a troll. Let's say Maddie was a troll, and he had 200 lands, and he separated all the states into 200 parcels, and he says, well, now I have 200 votes. He's still more inclined to vote for aligned with builders than anybody else because the builders are increasing the value of land. And so, in my opinion, it doesn't seem like it would matter, somebody trying to skew a vote like that.
Yeah. But then again, like if you think that the builders and then the landowners are more aligned, then it kind of dwarfs the say of the mana holders, because, I think then it would be kind of two versus one in a lot of these issues.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's what I'm saying. It's like we got to skew the vote, meaning those who have deployed something should be the only ones voting, right? And so just because I don't think a person with, 10 million mana that just bought it off, Binance should have any say in what happens with the Decentraland, because, he's not actively participating. He's just a speculator. Right, so that person is not knowledgeable enough about Decentraland to say anything, right? To vote on anything, and so that's why we should skew the vote.
This is why I like a little bit different on the subject, because I was involved with music, and like your fans are important, and I would put mana holders in that category, like the fans of the project.
Sure.
People that are gonna watch from afar that might not
that's a good point.
buy land, or might, they just have, because they they think about it, think it's it's a good thing. So like those people are also important, and if they want to see it go a certain way, their voice should be heard on some level. I don't know what that is, but I'm just saying, I'm always like playing this little devil's advocate, because I know that on some level you got a guy holding mana. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't mean shit. Like what?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I see it. I see your point, Frankie. I think you're absolutely right, because the builders aren't the only people experiencing anything in Decentraland, right? So I do agree that anyone, let's say mana holders, right, the regular player who doesn't necessarily own land, the regular player should also have some sort of weight into their vote too. So that makes sense. I mean, that I didn't really
We
think
were
about
just
it that way.
voting on things that we thought were good or important or whatever.
Yeah.
And then this person was like, man, I just want to, something simple that I want to jump on or whatever. I want this thing to be a thing. And we forgot about that because we got our heads so stuck in building and
Sure.
doing it, trying to get this stuff done.
Yeah.
He might just want a social thing that's kind of easy to do.
Yeah.
We're not even we're not even into that right now, So, that kind
No, I totally agree.
You might want emojis in the chat, stuff like that.
That's true. I think maybe, I you're absolutely right. I don't think it's so simple as the way I was saying it, because there's so many other things that come into play. But maybe we should implement some sort of DAO where we align the voting mechanism with like the intended goal of improvement within Decentraland. And I don't know if even that's easy. I'm just spitballing here, but it has to be the votes that matter have to be done by people who know what's going on, right?
Yeah,
that's
definitely,
how I'm thinking about it.
Definitely, but at the same time, I think there should be some sort of. I don't know what the weight. Again, about the weight of these things, but I'm saying I don't know what the weight is exactly. But the fans, let's call them, they need to have a say too.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, so Daniel, in the United States, Donald Trump, right? And the people, the people has voted for this guy, right? And so one would argue that he's not a very good president, but others would argue that he is good. The problem is you're allowing
very hard.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. The problem is that you're allowing an uneducated population to vote, and when you allow that, you yield presidents like Trump, right? And so that's what I'm trying to see if there's a better way to do this. Maybe it's like a clear one man, one vote, or one wallet address, one vote. Maybe it should be that simple, or that's how we should do this. But I'm trying to think of a better way of doing it, and that's why I'm bringing it up to you guys.
Well, whatever it is, it should be somewhere between like the builders get all the say and don't have the fans vote the starting five of the starting lineup of the all-star team. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's got to be somewhere in between that. Like, we shouldn't be giving them the starting five. But they should probably get 10 through 13.
Yeah. Good point.
I guess the thing is not about builders, or I guess we call ourselves builders. But what I mean really is people who is active in the community, and people who is actually knowing what's going on. The thing is that most of them are either builders or people like Matty who is investing in their land and trying to make a living out of it, right?
Yeah.
So it's more about, that's the issue, how do you leverage who is entitled enough to vote? That's actually very impossible if you think about it.
Yeah.
So then I think that you have to go to some level. Every piece of land is a vote, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what if you don't? Because for example, I don't.
So no, if you don't have land, I know.
Land.
I'm just saying, let's say every piece of land is a vote, and then you give, there is a amount of mana that approximates to a piece of land. But the problem is with that almost should run like a ticker. Like it should be some sort of like chart for what that number is, because that's not always the same. Land goes up and down as well as mana. So I think the weight on somebody's mana, if I have, for instance, you're telling me that 5,000 mana equals a piece of land, but then they're selling for 13, and then in a spike they could be selling for 25,
right?
And mana could be worth 2 cents or it could be worth 30. So there has to be some. To me, there would be a metric if you could make it, that balances that. Like, all right, well, land is by average going for this much, mana is this much, so your mana is worth this many votes.
Yeah.
It's probably math that I definitely can't do.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to make it based on the price. Originally when I thought about it, I thought they would probably just do something like 50-50 with like like mana just accounting for 50% and then land somehow accounting for 50%, because I think one of the biggest votes that's gonna happen eventually is like, this is just the age old, since the beginning the question has been, is there going to be an extension of Genesis City, or is there going to be a new metaverse like sister city? And I think for that vote, I think it definitely needs to be 50-50 in terms of land and mana, because obviously every landowner is going to say no, and every mana holder is probably going to say yes, So I think like it needs to be somewhat even for that big decision. So.
When do you foresee that thing going on? I don't like that idea at all.
I think they mentioned it in their last. They mentioned it in their last blog post when they were introducing like some of the DAO, like just talking about what the DAO do, and they had said something about such as voting for an extension of Genesis City, or capping the land at its current
I think that will happen. The extension will happen eventually, but for that we still need to fill the land with content, and people need to see that. Because if you extend Decentraland right now, it will be more emptiness, which will definitely decrease the value of the land.
I don't like that. I love it if we're stacked in here, and then it's like, just make more land, and then that way
exactly
ours is still worth, because we're doing with it, so that's fine,
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that eventually doing with your land is going to become like a requirement, not like a requirement but requirement by nature. Like if you have it and you're not doing with it, then you're not really making it do nothing,
How would you enforce that? I think that's a great idea.
No, just monetarily, just like it's not going to be worth it for you. Like nobody goes for, lands that don't do anything,
Yeah. I wrote a blog post about that exactly. I think like 2 months ago, it's basically my whole point was just like land, the whole obviously people base it on location, but like, when you can literally just teleport anywhere within a second,
exactly.
It's like every land is essentially on the same playing field. And then after that, it's really about the content. And then
that's right.
And then the content, and then the land around that content is,
well, even like, you can start, there'll be a point where you'll have a lot of people, like from the beginning that know how to build. And then there'll be people that, don't know how to build, definitely want land and bought land or whatever. And then you'd be like, you could sell land with builds on it, and that's been done. Like Clark Kent bought the strip club, you have to build on it. Now he doesn't have the use, he can't use it. It's just up there. But you could easily, that could be a service, just like, here's a land, give me your idea, it's gonna cost this much, build the whole thing for you custom, and then and that's your land. There you go.
Yeah, and then
and then again, it would be like, it would be kind of useless to be somebody with an empty parcel. Like, hey, I got this empty parcel. Like, all right, that's cool, man. That's going to cost me this much money to build on. So your land is worth less now.
I personally think that something like MetaZone is like should be like even more volume than like the DCL land marketplace eventually.
Yeah,
we just got to get like. It's got to be real easy to go back and forth between MetaZone and your own. Like, if you want to, like for me, if I wanted to just throw something in my building, that's got to be like really easy.
Yeah, we're going to support that too.
Stuff. And I know it's going to get there. It's not even an issue to me. That's the reason why I originally started hanging out with you guys and all that, because it was like, I seen the vision right from jump. I'm like, that's going to work.
Yeah, I think
start creating these things as NFTs, and we were just having a conversation in the radio station here where I was saying like, if you could carry your NFTs in the wallet like a wearable, so like let's say you had something that was small that you like this DJ board that I have here. Let's say I just could have that and I just pull it out like pow, it works on your land.
Yeah,
so stuff like that where you get almost like carryables. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think for stuff like that, like maybe having even like a pet within Decentraland that walks with you throughout the world, that's going to be like supported like on the foundation level of Decentraland. But you're right. I think even a MetaZone, it can get there only because the only way to get there is with developers, And the whole purpose of MetaZone is to showcase the fact that there's a market here, right? If you build something, there's somebody to buy that thing. And so far we've done a pretty good job, but we still need, way more developers. And that's like why I keep advocating for the SDK, man. You improve the SDK, I'm telling you, Decentraland won't even look like anything we've imagined up until like right now. And, I think if we support that ecosystem where Decentraland is like a platform for developers, like that's the place you're going to want to be at. And there won't be another place that you'd like compare Decentraland to. But, that's probably me, like tooting my own horn, I guess.
Vision, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that though. I think that's way more important than like the builder.
Yeah, for sure.
In terms of like making like unique experiences, and like the builder is, I guess, good for people that just want to just say they made something like on their land. But like the stuff that's really gonna keep like bringing back users and actually producing like replay value for users is going to be all SDK stuff. So I agree with you completely on that.
Yeah,
totally.
I mean, it's going to be stuff that does stuff. This kid was making I forget his name. The kid that was making the ticker.
Kryptonaut.
Was that Kryptonaut?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So he's making the ticker, and that thing is cool. And in something like that, you need to make that from the SDK, and then you should be able to share that somehow or sell that or make it a NFT or something. So you can now pass it along through the community, and it can be a thing within the world.
Yeah.
Now we have a bunch of creations right now that sit dormant because I might not want to even deploy it on my land, but somebody else might want to. Well, it should be an NFT then.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and we still got a long way to go, man. I think with all these improvements happening, the leaky bucket like getting plugged, all that stuff, it's only going to help. And I think the fact that we're in a little early it's only really going to help us, right? And so I think we're in a good place, and I think we should all head to the fashion show so we can go check it out.
Is it fashion show time?
Yeah,
I'm already there, but I'm not.
What was it again? It's 23.
It's 23. What is it?
23,115.
Yeah.
All right, headed to the fashion show.
So
still live though.
Yeah. So let's check this out. I kind of want to see, and hopefully, the only problem I see with there's got to be a better way, like maybe like a conference server where we can support more than like 50 or so people. But because if you set something like this up, you're going to like parse your player base, right? You're not going to be able to see the show if all the action is happening on a particular server. And so like
because it's like 50 per realm.
Yeah. So there's got to be some like infrastructure changes to support like conferences, or but it's still a work in progress, I guess.
Yeah.
Where's the Interact broadcast in this?
Yeah, I think they were talking about it in the Discord here.
Is he
Oh, so Fenrir Amber? Yeah, you're in the right one.
No. I'm saying like, where's is he in a Discord somewhere with audio?
Let me see.
Yeah, it seems like they are in the.
Yeah, I think they posted it in Agus posted it in.
And announcements.
Announcements. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't think we have to stay on longer. So I want to thank Baus, Daniel, and Frankie for coming on. And I'll put everybody's Discord and Twitter on the YouTube description. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys for coming out. Hopefully you guys want to join next week or another week after. And just want to thank you guys for showing up.
Awesome. Yeah, that was fun. Let's definitely do it again.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Okay. See ya.